Hey, happy Friday! Fridays are always good, right? In Beachbody land, every day is kind of like a Friday. So today's topic is not super sexy. I get that. But it is super sexy when you recognize that you are maximizing how much money you can make based on placement and volume and rank and a lot of things that I feel like aren't talked about enough with coaches who aren't diamond yet. Just because I think if you can get a good game plan in your head about how it works, and then you can help teach your team how it works, guess who's going to be making a lot more money? You and your team, and that's super sexy to everyone, okay? So that's what I'm going to be talking about today. I'm just like pulling up the page now to see if there's any extra questions so I can be prepared as we move through. If you have any questions, obviously you can post them while I'm chatting and I'll come back. But yeah, I mean, today, like I said, it's not super sexy stuff, but it is interesting stuff. You know, like I'm a former engineer, so I love math and I love really helping my coaches get it. Like, I feel like once you can get the difference, like, okay, this is what recognition and rank will get me. This is what volume will get me. Do they interact? How do I choose which one? So that's what we're going to talk about today. And it's loading. Let's just get going. Okay, so like I just mentioned, you kind of have to make the decision at least kind of early on if you're going to go for recognition. I mean, 15 star is awesome. We have a few 15-star diamonds in this group, and if you can hit it, you know it's like the coup de grace of Beachbody recognition. If you can hit 15-star, that's amazing. And if recognition drives you, that's great. Like, if that's what you love is to, you know, like make sure people know that this is what you're doing in corporate, telling you how awesome you are, then, and you know what, there's no shame in that game. And when I talk about all of this, recognize that I am not against recognition. I am not against rank. I am just for building your business as smart as possible to maximize, because at the end of the day, 15-star is great, but it's also really hard to A, hold on to, and B, you're actually like, not losing money, but you know, the comp plan actually maxes out at 10-star. So I'm not sure if anyone knows that, but that's how the comp plan works. So we're going to go through all of that today just so that you can have information and then you can choose wisely based on what's important to you. Okay, so I already just told you that the comp plan maxes out at 10-star, and you know, quarterly bonuses are nice. Like those 15-star quarterly bonuses used to be like $135,000. Imagine getting that 4 times a year. Not bad, right? So that would be something to shoot for 15-star 4. However, now and obviously some of the 15 stars can correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I've heard, now they're around 25 to 30-ish, which $25,000 to $30,000 4 times a year is also great. But if it means that you're giving up anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000 a week, is it really worth it? Okay, so just think through that. Also remember that holding for 15-star is really stressful because many people drop, you know, like, because basically if you don't hold for the 15, you're paid at a 10, and then you've basically given those 5 diamonds to Beachbody when you could have been using them in your second or third business centers to build more diamonds, to build more, you know, volume in, basically I'll explain what CBCs are as we go too, but to build that way towards the sweet spot. The sweet spot, just for everyone to get it out there right away, the sweet spot is 9 and 10-star diamond. Again, I understand that if recognition is your thing, to go for it, but the sweet spot is 9 to 10 diamonds. So why I'm building multiple business centers to maturity, each one can earn $11,000 to $12,000 a week at 9 to 10-star. That's not awful, right? Would any of us be unhappy if we were earning $11,000 to $12,000 a week in multiple business centers? So that means, you know, each time you become a 2-star, which again, we'll go through all of like where your goals should be as you move forward. Each time you become a 2-star, Beachbody basically lets you like copy yourself, makes a duplicate of yourself. So as soon as you hit 2-star, literally the next day, it shouldn't wait. As soon as you hit 2-star, you should open up your next business center. And we'll talk about placement too. So then now you have a 2-star in your first business center and you're a coach in your second business center. As soon as that second business center hits 2-star, Then you open up your third business center as quickly as possible. And basically, then you start making money off of yourself, which is really awesome. Like I personally have 3 business centers. I'm 7-star, 2-star, and diamond. And now I'm kind of moving back, which again, I'm getting ahead of myself here. But basically, because you are building each one of those to 9 to 10 star, you're building each one of those to $11,000 to $12,000 versus trying to put all of your diamonds in that first CBC to build to 15 star. And as you guys have probably seen and heard, diamonds hit and then they fall, and then they hit and they fall, and you actually don't get recognition as an upline until a diamond holds for 6 weeks with all of your other diamonds. So imagine 15 people in specific spots too. They can't just be, 3 on this leg and 12 on this leg. You have to have 15 people and 7 on one leg and at least 8 on the other. Hold for 6 weeks at a time, all at the exact same time to get that 15-star bonus. Versus, if you have, like I said, if you start moving those multiple business centers, then you're getting that volume no matter what, where you need it. So because 9 star is that sweet spot. And the reason that is because it's really easy to get there with balance. So just for knowledge, when you become 2-star, that means you have to have 1 diamond on each of your legs. You can't have to have a diamond on each leg. Hey, good morning. When you become a 5-star, you have to have at least 2 diamonds on one leg and 3 on the other. To be 10-star, you have to have 5 on each. So do you see how hard that is to balance? But when you're 9-star, you can have 2 on one leg and 7 on that weak leg, and think about how much volume that's doing. Like I know Pat's big on recognition of weak leg volume, and we are too in our team, because that's really where your income is coming from. If your week leg volume is 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, 60,000, that's where your income is coming from. So that's really why building to 9-star is that sweet spot, because then you're not trying to put all of these diamonds on that strong leg, 3 more diamonds on that strong leg, which you might not even be needing that volume. If you have equal legs, then it's much easier to build for rank. Like I know when I've spoken with Megan, I don't think I'm giving anything away here, but she's even. So that's why it was much easier for her to build for rank in that sense, because she didn't have an upline really putting much, volume in that strong leg. And I know a lot of people who've built easily, I say that quotations, to 15-star, have been able to do it because they didn't have that certain strong leg and they were able just to build volume equally. So when you hit 10-star, you're basically maximizing the comp plan, because the comp plan maxes out at $12,000 a week in each business center in the cycle bonus. Recognize that if you're selling a ton of challenge packs, that's not included in that. We're talking about team cycle bonus only. Oh, good. So happy you could jump in live too. So we've already talked about, sorry, I have a lot of notes, obviously, because this is kind of specific stuff. So you can be a 9-star making $11,000 a week, or you can be a 15-star. Literally, I was talking to Jeff Armbruster about this. He knew a 15-star that was making $800 a week. So you have that recognition, but really, how is your long-term wealth being built on that? Because some people will build to like 15-star and then 2-star. They only have 1 business center with a couple diamonds in it. And think about, are you really maximizing your income and your volume when you're a 15 and a 2? You're not. So you can still be making great money. Obviously, a lot of the 15 stars are making great money, but it's much easier to build this way, because then you're not dependent as much on other people holding very specific 15 people holding at the same time. So your goal, let's talk about this really quickly, is getting your first CBC to 2-star and getting that second CBC open. Then your next goal is getting your first CBC to 5-star, because then you get to join the wall, you get the VIP treatment for coach relations. You obviously are getting the 5-star and the 2-star bonus now. And just with 5-star comes a lot of extra perks. You obviously can be elite, as long as you have your elite points. So the 5-star, initially it's 2-star, get that second CBC open, which that second CBC counts as a diamond. When it gets to diamond, it counts as a diamond in your first business center. So then you really only have to help produce 2 more diamonds in that first business center to get to 5-star. Again, to be a 5-star, you have to have at least 2 on one leg and 3+ on the other leg, but you have to have a minimum of 2. Next is to get your second CBC to 2-star, because then you can open that third business center. Next goal is third CBC to diamond, and then you're trying to get everyone to 5-star, and then the 9-star will kind of just happen. And then after that, if you've built strong this way, then guess what? 15-star will happen, 10-star will happen, but if you make that your initial goal is to build breadth, right? To build depth, versus only build one up, you have obviously a lot more income coming in that way, and you've just kind of built smarter. Okay, so that's really what we're also talking about. This is also why you can easily or faster get to $1,500 to $2,000 a week. How many would love to get to $2,000 a week faster? I think that's a part of, for me, it's why I was able to build. I haven't been some insane recruiter, or, like I feel like I am good at helping my working coaches move. But the reason I was able to be a 6-figure earner in less than 18 months, it was because I built smart. It's because I built for volume and not for rank. So as soon as you get to 2-star, then you also get to start profit sharing, and you get to be part of that quarterly bonus, which the quarterly bonus for 2-star is anywhere from $700 to $900, but that's nice. Like, that's a vacation. That's, you can put that down towards a lot of different things. So now let's talk volume. Capping out volume. Does anyone know what that means? Basically, most of us probably aren't doing that here, but basically capping out volume means that you made the most cycles you can get in a business center. The reason Beachbody doesn't train on this is because they want you to go for 15-star. They actually are making more money in a way if you're not maximizing the team cycle bonus. So once you hit 10-star, you're maximizing the team cycle bonus. 15-star, you're not maximizing it. 15-star, you're just doing more profit sharing with the company. So this is why Beachbody doesn't teach you on this, because they actually don't make any more money off of you if you build this way versus building the 15-star. So, I feel like when you think about volume, your volume is constantly going to be moving, because, like, for example, we have Super Saturday coming up in like a couple weeks. I know there's some huge announcements when it comes to Shakeology, when it comes to just some other really fun stuff coming. So all of these increase your volume. I encourage you that if you are interested in this, print out the comp plan, and it's not exciting reading, but it's also really good reading in the sense that you can see where different ways you can make money. And I've learned all of this from just Jeff Armbruster, from Jason Diebold, from the people who basically, I think Jason has like 6 or 7 business centers now. He's the guy who built Coaching Code. Some of you might not know him, but he's a straight up nerd that really loves Beachbody. He's an awesome guy, but he loves to share and help people when it comes to comp plan stuff. So maybe you guys know, maybe you don't, but when you're an Emerald, you cap out, or you can only make up to $250 a week in cycles. A Ruby can make $1,000 a week, and a Diamond can make up to $2,000 a week. Now this is where you can understand where the comp plan maxes out. At 1-star, you can make up to $3,000 a week. 2-star, $4,000 a week. 10-star, you can make up to $12,000 a week, and then you're capped. You can't make more than $12,000 a week in a team cycle bonus, period. So you can see why when you hit 11-star, they're not going to give you that extra $1,000. When you hit 12-star, they're not giving you that extra $1,000. You are capped at $12,000 a week. So you're almost giving up $1,000 for each one of those diamonds to Beachbody. They're not paying you $1,000 a week anymore for those diamonds. So just recognize that there are some coaches in this business that are making $2 to $3 million a year. I should probably preface this with, the income disclaimer, right? Your income does not depend on Beachbody. It just depends on your effort, diligence. Oh, good, I'm back. So there are coaches making $40,000 to $50,000 a week, and most of the people making the money in this are at 9 to 10-star in their multiple CBCs. Many people doing this are not the names that we hear constantly. And again, we are in a group with some insane rock stars, really hard workers, people who have done things that I hope to do with my business. But just recognize that sometimes the people who've built smarter aren't the ones whose names you always see up in lights or on stage. And that's why I think it's important to know this and then make the decision to say, okay, I want to be there. Like, that is important to me. I want to be a top 10 coach. This is exactly what I want in my business. I want to see myself up there. And power to you, but just recognize that sometimes if you might be building that way, you might be leaving some money on the table when it comes to building your business. So there are the maximum amount of CBCs. I don't know if anyone knows, which no one has hit this yet, is 25. There are people like Jason, Christine, Janelle, Melanie, and they have 6+ CBCs. I'm sure there are more, but this is what I know right now. When you're setting up your Shakeology HD, this is so interesting to me because I was laughing with Jason about this. But when you set up your CBCs, each next CBC, you move your Shakeology HD down to your baby CBC, basically the new CBC that you open. So because, for example, Jason has 6 CBCs, he has that 90 HD in that 6 CBC, and he makes $18 because he's a diamond down there. He makes $18 every time he orders Shakeology in that 6th CBC. He makes $18 in that 5th CBC. He makes $18 in the 4th, 3rd, 2nd, 1st. So Beachbody is actually paying him every month to drink Shakeology, because as you set up your CBCs, you then cycle on yourself. And so he makes money like buying Shakeology. He actually gets money in his pocket. So just think through it also that way. You're giving yourself volume as you build your other CBCs. The way it also works with CBCs is your personal volume rolls up. So if you have that 90 PV in that last CBC, you'll see it in your first CBC, so you can hit Success Club. You don't need 90 PV in each one of those CBCs to hit Success Club, things like that. You do need 50 PV to stay active as you get more business centers. So again, we've talked about how the best income to multiple CBCs is at 9 to 10 star. And I wanted to talk quickly about placement, because I know some people have questions about volume, equal volume. There's something called dumping that Beachbody does. And especially you can see this if you go into your Coach Online office and you go into volume, carryover volume, and maybe some of you haven't gotten dumped yet, but if you do have a really strong leg, you'll notice that it's like strong, then all of a sudden Beachbody will just dump it. Like, it happens a couple times a year sometimes, and that's basically just money out of your pocket. So that's why when people say like, well, how do I build my volume? How do I know which placement to do? What I really encourage people to do is, get to diamond. Like, that's most important. And then we look at volume. So before you place a coach, and you can kind of guess, but honestly, much of the time when you guess if a coach is going to be a rock star coach you're signing up, we're right maybe 50% of the time, because I've found that people who end up talking the most about how great they're going to be don't always end up doing the most with their business. So placement really is a guessing game when it comes to, oh my gosh, this rock star coach I'm going to put here and they're going to grow my business like crazy. Just don't base it off of that. So initially what you do is you're going to go in and you're going to look at your left leg volume and your right leg volume. And then you're going to go into your Coach Online, up at the top, my business, my volume, and see where your volume is trending on your left leg, on your right leg. So see where adding someone would make the most sense, because if you can get to equal volume, you will never get your volume dumped by Beachbody, because you're using it up every other week. Because basically the way Team Cycle bonuses work is that it uses as much as the week leg has to make the Team Cycle bonus 100. I mean, I'm not going to go into how Cycle bonus works. We're all almost diamonds in here. If you don't know how it works, watch the video from Michael Neiman, on YouTube. But it only uses up the volume from that weak leg every single time. So imagine if your weak leg basically flip-flops every time. This means you are in the ultimate position of you're maximizing how much your business is making. So before you set up a coach, before you place someone, go look at your volume. And obviously I encourage my team that until you're diamond, just come to me and then we can look at it together, so you're not trying to figure it all out. But that's the best way to set it up as you move forward from diamond to 2-star to multiple CBCs. So when you're setting up your multiple CBCs, even say, okay, I have 3 CBCs and I'm signing up a coach today, let's say. So I would go in and I would look at my third CBC, which obviously it's beneficial for me to put as many people in my third CBC as I can right now, because guess what? I get cycle off of them. My second CBC gets cycle off of them. My first CBC gets cycle off my first, second, and third. So there's a full, like, you're cycling off of yourself if you add someone to that third CBC. But let's say my first CBC has a super strong leg, because the way I set up my business, and this is how I train on it, other coaches might do this differently, is your first two coaches, one of them should be a spouse or family member, and get them in that very first spot on your weak leg. Then as you get to 2-star, which I personally did not build my ex-husband to diamond, I'm not a big fan of manufacturing diamonds. I'm just going to put that out there. I think it gets stressful. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of, you have to make sure to clarify with Beachbody. I prefer to build diamonds, as that's like the optimal way. But obviously getting to 2-star is that first big goal. And if that means that, your spouse and you want to build, his account together, or at least with his approval, then that's smart. So basically, my ex-husband or whatever is on that very first spot on my weak leg. Then as I got to 2-star, not with him as my diamond because it doesn't really matter, I opened up that second CBC under his weak leg. So now there's one cycle for me. He now gets a cycle and the second CBC cycles. So then when I added my third CBC, I put it on the weak leg of my second CBC. And on that note, my third CBC counts as a diamond in my second CBC. So as soon as you build that next business center to diamond, it counts in the business center that you placed it in. So, officially, I have built myself to diamond 3 times, in whatever. So just think through it that way as you're building. If you need another diamond on that next strong leg of an additional CBC, then where would you place that next CBC at? So that's really how I advise to place is, weak leg, spouse goes on that weak leg, second CBC goes on spouse's weak leg, and then his third CBC, it goes on the weak leg of that second CBC, or it could potentially go on the weak leg of your first CBC, depending on where you need a diamond. My fourth CBC, because I have made my legs equal in both my first, second, and third CBC, there's a good chance I'm going to put my fourth CBC on my strong leg of my first business center, so now I can grow even stronger that way. But that'll be a game time decision. If I sign up a coach that all of a sudden blows up volume in a different CBC, then that will change my placement. So that's where understanding volume and looking at it before you sign up a coach, saying, okay, this is my volume on my left, this is my volume on my right, I need someone on my right. Or to build a 2-star, where would I need someone? It's important to think through both of those things. So remember, the goal is diamond, 2-star, second CBC open, then 5-star in first, 2-star in second, open up the third CBC, get that to diamond, and then get all to 5. And then start trying to make all of them at 9 and 10. That's really the best way to then be earning $11,000 to $12,000 a week in 3 CBCs. That's obviously not a poor paycheck. Let's see, what else can we talk about? Again, in a perfect world, you would have equal legs for volume, and then that ideal sweet spot is 9 and 10-star diamond. So, again, not super sexy information, but information that recognizes that be thinking through how you're building volume-wise so that you can maximize what your paycheck is. And again, the way I also like to teach, it's a little, I say we build towards rank, and then we build bank as we're building towards the next rank. And then it kind of goes back and forth, because hitting that next rank is important. It's important for your team to see it. It's also important, to hit that 5 and 10-star mark. But again, I think 15 is great, but you have to recognize the financial risk potentially involved if your legs aren't equal. If your legs are equal, then great. You're basically just happening because you're building your legs equally, which is smart. But also, again, as you build, it's important to put those diamonds in subsequent CBCs to make even then more money that way. Okay. Does anyone have any questions for me? I can answer questions about any of this stuff or whatever. You've got me live for a bit. And yeah, it's Friday. I have a black tie wedding to go to this weekend, and I'm really excited about it. Like renting dresses from Rent the Runway that are like $2,000 dresses or whatever. It's fun. Like, I'm a single mom of 3 kids, and I get to wear this really fancy dress this weekend. It's great. Okay, so let me refresh again, see if anyone has any questions about placement, business centers, volume, any of that fun stuff. It's tax season. No, Beachbody combines all of your income from all of your CBCs into one 1099. Okay, so Mary's going to have to watch it many times. Thanks, Mary. So JC has a serious strong leg and an embarrassing amount of carryover volume. Do you know when they dump that? No, they don't tell you that. That's why building that weak leg insanely as much as possible, that's the only way to do it. Otherwise, I mean, all the people with strong legs, which imagine if you got put on a strong leg of one of these people or of Jason Diebold or whatever, right? Like, you're going to have insane amounts of volume. It just happens, and it's basically like watching money go down the toilet. But you can also potentially look at it as stock options, right? Like, you never really had the money. You had to then invest, build your weak leg to be able to get it. Okay, where are we? So yeah, JC, build that weak leg, girl. Do it. Okay, Melissa. I wish my friends would get married so I could wear a dress. Very true. And then all of a sudden you're going to be in like wedding season where everyone gets married and you're like, I've had to buy all these presents for everyone. I think I heard every 5,000 cycles. I don't know. When I talked to Jeff Armbruster about it, he didn't give me that number. But it's possible. I mean, I didn't see that in the comp plan. So maybe. I guess we should look that one up and see. If anyone knows if they dump it every 5,000 cycles, then there you go. So if you have, Chelsea has a mother-in-law on her strong leg and her husband on her right. So I'm assuming your husband is on your weak. Right and left doesn't work when it comes to strong and weak. Should I build your business as both the emerald to make sure I always have diamond rank? I think you should build 2 emeralds. And I think personally getting your spouse to emerald so that you can start cycling is important. The mother-in-law situation with taxes, I'm always a little like hesitant, right? Like, yeah, you can build your mother-in-law to emerald. That's great. She'll be cycling. There's a really good chance right now she won't owe any money, but she will get a 1099 if she earns more than $600. So that's a decision you're going to have to talk about with her. Like, hey, are you fine with getting a 1099 and having to claim this? You know, everyone handles it differently. I'm not going to give advice about that. But I think it's something you can talk to your upline about what if he or she has built a non-spouse where you can obviously combine your taxes. So that's just something to think about. I think, you know, if you really are building and actively being a leader and recruiting people who are like you don't have to worry as much about dropping. And the thing is, like, everyone drops rank at some point or another, you know, like whether you like, I waffle sometimes between 4 and 7 because I have a strong leg diamond, which is why I also want to get, you know, I have so many, I think I have 3 or 4 potentials right now who are so close to diamond. I think they're all in this group on that strong leg. So that would bump me to 10 star. But right now my cycle either says 7 star in my first CBC or it says 4 star. Even though I have more than 4 diamonds, I'm not officially a 5 star unless I have 2 diamonds on my strong leg. So, you know, it's a situation that people drop, but if you keep building your business and you keep building for volume and you keep really looking at how you can help your leaders grow also, helping them see their why, you know, just recognizing that showing up every day, like the little stuff, being consistent, then you won't drop diamond rank. You might waffle, but you'll be consistently growing. Okay. JC, get it. Okay. Trust him, not me. Back up. The thing is, like, you know, when I talked with Jeff about it, it was last year when I was at Disney. He's a big Disney guy, and we were both randomly at Disney at the same time. And honestly, the other thing I want to encourage you to do, and these people are very busy, don't get me wrong, but if you have a really specific question about, like, comp plan or whatever, like, Jason Diebold and Jeff Armbruster have been nothing shy of amazing. And don't get me wrong, like it better be a pretty serious question that if you ask your upline and he or she doesn't know, then it's okay, right? Like then go to someone that who might have more information. But it's just, like they're ready to help and they like talking about this stuff. So, if you have a question that you're like, I just can't figure this out, my upline can't figure it out, then I know, Becca, it's like this big nerd crush. Me too. Like, let's talk about math. This is so exciting. So yeah, I mean, it's weird, but I feel like every time I've spoken with them or that, I've spent time with them, they've been really great and helpful because this is something they love talking about. And again, they're maximizing the comp plan at that 9 and 10 star diamond. Obviously, making 30 grand a week wouldn't be so terrible, right? So, I mean, none of us are there right now, but we all have the potential. We all have the capability to be there. And so when you hear these numbers, if you're like, oh, that seems so far away, I think you need to shift your mindset about money to think like, man, I deserve that. I'm willing to work hard because I'm going to get there. I'm smart. Like as soon as you start feeling like, oh, there's no way I'll ever make that, you need to catch yourself and think, okay, what is my money abundance mindset? Maybe I'm not there, but how am I going to get there? I know I can get there. And I think talking that way to yourself, it brings more money in your life. Obviously, I'm not talking like super woo-woo, sit there on the couch and don't do anything and money will appear, but it's all in how you talk to yourself and how you think about it. And that's what you bring more of versus, oh, I'm broke. I'm always going to be broke. How am I ever going to do that? You bring more of that into your life too. Okay. Do we have any other questions? Again, if you have questions below, you can comment below. Did I miss anything? Becca, we should look that up to see if it's 5,000 or not. And I trained my team on this, so like, Becca's already heard all of this, so it's nothing like new or exciting, but I feel like so many people aren't talking about the comp plan or training their new coaches on how to best maximize it. Remember, build towards rank. So when I talk to my coaches, it's like get to emerald as fast as you can. You can be emerald tomorrow. Emerald is a decision. Now we build to diamond, which means we build our weak leg to 4 people. And then we build our strong leg to 4 people. So see how you're maximizing your volume. You're building that weak leg so you can get more cycles as you're building towards the next rank, which is diamond. So now you have 4 on each leg. Now it's like, where do we get our emeralds? Now, and then as you're doing that, I personally recommend building to 5 on each leg so you have a buffer, and then crushing that weak leg, adding as many people as you can. Don't just go back and forth, 6 on each, 7 on each, unless your legs are equal, unless your volume is equal, then that's great, go for it. But the reason, I think when I ended my first full year, I had like 7 and 29 or something like that. Like I was super uneven, but that's also, I was crazy cycling. Like that's where your longevity of your income comes from. Okay, Melissa, whoop. It's reloading on me. Let's see. I'll just look on my phone. So Melissa's pretty new. She's an Emerald coach. Is there a way to avoid pitfalls that might happen once I get to the point where you're talking about with multiple CBCs? I mean, when you say pitfalls, I'm not really sure what that means. Building to diamond really is your next step, and then 2-star is your big goal. In my opinion, once you hit 2-star, it means that you've made this a real business. Because you're getting profit sharing with the company. 2 stars, I'll get quarterly bonuses too. And what's also cool is that, let's say you do hit 10-star and you hold. You get the 10-star bonus, the 5-star bonus, and the 2-star bonus. If you hit 15-star, you get 15, 10, 5, and 2. You get all of them. Okay, so it's not like you just skip out on the 2, and that's why the pool gets smaller and smaller as you go, because they look at every single person who has at least 2 stars, 2 diamonds on their team. And then they have every person who get 5 diamonds, in the right placement on their team. And then they split it up that way. And that's why it obviously goes from whatever, $30,000 down to $700 through those. Again, and when I talk bonuses, I am not talking specifically. They change every time, but just know averages, right? Okay, so yeah, and I'm not sure when you say pitfalls, if you constantly are looking at placement, if you're constantly like looking at, which by the way, Jason does have a rank, something called rank calc, and you can look at it from your previous office view. Not sure if any of you have ever gone in there. If you go to teambeachbody.com, coach, most of us go right into coach online office. The best option is to go into coach previous office view. And then you can, if you go look at rank calc, it'll tell you literally every day what you're set up to be, like what rank you are today, which people are going inactive, where your volume is. And so that makes it really easy where you don't have to like kind of bounce back and forth. So you can try rank calc. I haven't tried it in a while just because I'm not in a place of worrying about people holding. You do it basically every day when you're in that 6-week hold. Like, okay, where are we? Is there fires today? Who's, second Emerald coach is going inactive that we need to look at, or they only have 40 PV or whatever. These are things that you look at that you need to be aware of. I recommend also every Sunday checking your downline just to see where you are, especially if you're in a hold or if you're building towards the next rank. And then Tuesday, because on Tuesday you can start putting out fires. They will not ever cancel any coaches or do anything Wednesday before payday. So Tuesday is also when you need to look again. And then Wednesday is just your final check of, does everyone have the right amount of PV? Again, you need at least 50 PV to be active. You need 100 PV to be a diamond coach, and you need at least 200 PV as a star diamond coach. And your PV does not, it's per individual CBC. So each CBC does need at least, if you're a diamond, each CBC would need at least 100 PV, which you get 100 PV only from personal volume or from customer orders. If a coach signs up in a CBC, you don't get PV from that. Okay, you'll get team volume, but not PV. Tracy, have you published videos about this on YouTube? Oh, thanks. No, but I feel like YouTube is really, I used to do everything to YouTube. And maybe I'll do this one and I'll just clean it up, right? So that it's easier, or maybe I'll make it a little bit, I don't know. Actually, give me some feedback. How can I improve this so that it's not as confusing or that it's more clear? And then, so it's the thing, like sharing is caring. I'm all about posting my trainings, to YouTube, because there's no secret sauce in this business, right? Like if I do something every day, I'll have success if I'm consistent and I'm focused and I'm disciplined and I'm authentic and fun, right? And if someone else does the exact same thing, they can have massive success too. There's like no scarcity mindset when it comes to this business for me. Like I just share away. So yeah, I can get something on YouTube. Okay. Anyone else have anything? Anything else for me? Trying to think if there's anything else I was going to share about. Oh, your Success Club points roll up. I'm not sure if anyone had that question, but so I only really add people to my third CBC right now, but the Success Club points show up in my first CBC. It's like you've qualified with X amount of Success Club points. Okay? So if anyone has any other questions about this, if you're confused, just message in the thread. I'm sure someone else might be confused too. Otherwise, remember, as you're pushing for diamond, just to really build rank, then you build towards bank as you're building towards your next rank. Oh, thank you, Megan. It's been so awesome getting feedback from you guys. Like, these trainings, I think, add as much value to us as the people running, running the group as in, I can't wait. I learned so much from Keith and Amy, and being able to put this together for, you guys, I was like, I needed to get really clear and make sure I could train well on it. And now we have got 3 amazing weeks coming up. I can only imagine the value we're going to get, from Megan and Pat and Raina. I'm super, super excited. So Tracy said you don't have to hit Success Club at each CBC. No. You can actually, let's say I added a challenge pack in my first CBC, a coach in my third CBC, and a Shakio HD in my second CBC. It would show as 6 Success Club points. You have hit Success Club 5 this month. Okay? So no, and again, you put your Shakeology HD in your third CBC. So basically, because my Shakeology HD is in my third CBC, I make, 1836, what is that, 54? I make $54 every time I order Shakeology from myself. Not bad. That makes it $50 for me to order Shakeology at this point. So not terrible. And the same thing with Beachbody Performance Line stuff. I mean, most of us won't be ordering brand new programs anymore unless we want the DVDs. But anytime you're ordering programs and you do have a spouse's account, put it in that account if you're not diamond yet, so then you are basically getting cycle, and if your spouse is an emerald, then he's getting cycle off of it and you're getting cycle off of it. So just think, the farther down you place an order, the more volume that cycles up that you then earn in that first team cycle bonus. Alrighty guys, well, happy Friday. Have a really good day. I'm still not sure what dress I'm going to wear, so we'll see. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Thank you so much for the good questions and the great week. I'm like super open. So if you have any questions, some of you have messaged me privately, totally on board with that. Just send them my way and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Have a good day.